We begin Unit 7 talking about polynomials and factoring. We're going to learn what a polynomial is. And first of all, today we're going to learn how to add and subtract polynomials. So hopefully you already know how to add and subtract. So that'll be something that will apply to adding and subtracting polynomials today. So first of all, let's get some terminology down. Polynomials, poly means many. So we're going to talk about what a monomial is. And a monomial, as you can maybe guess, as we compare that with a binomial and a trinomial, these are all polynomials. But a monomial, you see that term mono, that means one. So monomial is one term. We have one term, one list of constants and variables multiplied together. Binomial, bi means two. We have two terms being added and subtracted together. And a trinomial, tri, like your tricycle, is three terms. So we have three separate terms being added together. And so as we talk about polynomials, we'll talk about combinations of monomials, binomials, and trinomials. So let's get some of that terminology down a little better now. So the first thing we want to understand is a monomial. As I mentioned before, monomials of a number, variable, or product of a number and one or more variables, and those need to have whole number exponents. So they can't be rational exponents or variables. The degree of a monomial is the sum of the exponents of the variables. So if we have a monomial such as 3x squared y, that would be a monomial because it's a product of a number, a couple variables. The degree of that monomial, this would be a degree 3 because we have x squared, which is 2, and y squared, which is 1. Okay, next let's talk about polynomial. Said is a monomial or sum of monomials. The degree of the polynomial is the greatest degree of its terms. So if we have a polynomial like 3x squared plus 2x minus 7, this would be degree 2, the highest degree of any of its terms. This one is degree 2, this term is degree 1. This is degree 0, so the highest term is 2, so this would be a second degree polynomial. And we see we have three different terms, so it would be a trinomial. When we talk about the leading coefficient, that's the coefficient of the degree of the greatest, or the term with the greatest degree. So that would be the 3 here. The leading coefficient would be 3, since that's the highest degree. So now let's talk about how we write polynomials. There's many ways to write things. Let's make sure we have the right format. So 7 plus 2x to the fourth minus 4x. Well, when you write a polynomial in standard form, we want the degrees to decrease from left to right. So as we look at the different terms, this first term is 7. That's a degree 0. Because really it's 7 times x to the 0. Because anything to the 0 is 1. It's really the same as 7 times 1, which we just write as 7. So that's degree 0. This term here is degree 4. This is degree 1. So when we rewrite them, we want to go greatest to least, so 4, 1, 0. So we're going to say 2x to the fourth, and then negative 4x, and then positive 7. Decreasing order. The greatest degree, then we can just look at the front, is 4. So that would be the degree of the polynomial. Keep in mind if there's multiple variables, we add up the degrees there. The leading coefficient would be 2. Just look at the beginning. So we put that in that order so that everyone, when we refer to it, knows what we're talking about. We're all talking about the same thing. Okay, so let's take a look now at how we would rewrite these. So I need to look at my terms. I have three terms. My largest term in degrees is right here, so I'd have 8x to the third. And then this is degree 1, so it's positive, so plus 5x. And then plus 13. Okay, so this would be a third degree trinomial. The degree is the largest that we have, degree 3. Leading coefficient would be 8. We would call this a trinomial because it has 3 terms. Next one, degree 4, degree 5, so let's just switch those two. So it would be negative 7y to the 5th, plus 4y to the 4th, plus 2y. So my highest degree, this would be a degree 5 polynomial. Degree 5, and my leading coefficient would be negative 7. And this would be a degree 5 trinomial since there's 3 terms. Okay, so just refresh binomial, 2 terms. For instance, here's an example, 2x squared minus 7y. Trinomial, 3 terms, 2x squared y squared minus 7x plus 2 would be an example. When we talk about combining like terms, when we get to adding and subtracting, they have to have the same exponent. So 2x squared and 7x squared are like terms because they have the same variable and the same exponent. So let's just take a look now. Why don't you pause the video and take a look at the table. Label these as polynomials, yes or no, and then classify them by their degree and their number of terms. So for instance, like we did here, this was a polynomial, degree 3, trinomial, because it has 3 terms. So pause it and start it when you're ready. All right, so as you can see, the first 2 are polynomials. They all have positive exponents, and it's just numbers and variables. The third one is not, because it has a variable exponent. This one has a negative exponent, so it's not a polynomial. And the final one is. This one is a 0 degree monomial. Because remember, it's like times x to the 0. It's just one term. Second degree, largest variable is 2, or exponent is 2, and we have 3 terms. We don't classify these because they're not polynomials. And this was a 5th degree binomial. We have 2 terms, and we combine those exponents of the largest term. So that's 3 and 2 is 5. This would be degree 2 for this term. So 5 is the biggest degree, so it's a 5th degree binomial. Now I'll show you how to add polynomials. When we do that, we just add like terms. I'll show you 2 different ways to do that. You decide whether you want to use horizontal or vertical format. Similar to like when you add 3 plus 2 horizontally and you get 5. You could also do that vertically. So I'll show you 2 different ways to do that. So we just make sure that we add up like terms. So 4x to the third plus, here's my like term, x to the third. 4x to the third plus an x to the third is 5x to the third. Keep in mind we want to take our largest degree first to put it in our proper format. Next we have a positive x squared plus negative 3x squared. 1 plus negative 3 is negative 2. So negative 2x squared. Next I would have my first degree terms. There's none on this side, but I have a plus, and it's a positive 7x squared, so it's just going to be plus 7x. Next we have degree 0 or constant terms. It's a negative 5, nothing over here, so it's just minus 5. Okay, so if you like that way, that's the horizontal format. They're in decreasing order. Vertically, I'm just going to line up my first term, 4x cubed plus x squared. I'm missing the x term, so I'll leave a space and put minus 5. Plus, line them up. I've got x to the third. I've got negative 3x squared. Positive 7x, put that in the empty spot. And I have no constant term. So if you want, you can put zeros in there for your organization's sake. And we just combine like we're adding, start right to left, or as we go through it. Negative 5 plus 0 is negative 5. 0x plus 7x is 7x. You can go left to right also, it doesn't matter. Just go with what you're used to. 4x to the third plus x to the third is 5x to the third. Okay? So try the next one on your own. Choose horizontal or vertical, or maybe try both. Start the video when you're ready. Okay, so I get 2x squared. I add the x squareds. Positive x and negative x cancel out, and 8 plus negative 1 is 7. See, when I line them up, I get the same thing. Subtracting, if we do that the horizontal format, just got to remember to distribute the negative sign. And it's the same as adding. So 3x squared minus. So the first thing we want to do is make sure that we find our largest degree. Squared, first degree, fourth degree, second degree. So start with fourth degree, x to the fourth, minus 11x. So I can either look at this as 1 minus 11, which is negative 10, x to the fourth. Next we go to third degree, we don't have those. Second degree, 3x squared minus negative 3x squared. So 3 minus negative 3 is going to be 6. So I have plus 6x squared. And then minus 5x and nothing else. So I would be done with that. Something some people like to do is distribute that negative first. So 3x squared minus 5x plus x to the fourth. And then we distribute that negative, minus 11x to the fourth. And then minus negative 3x is plus 3x squared. And then we just combine all our terms from there. So whichever method you go with, just make sure you're consistent with that and paying attention to that negative sign, because then we'll just combine those terms and still get the same value. 3x squared and plus 3x is 6x squared and minus 5x. Vertically, we'll do the same thing. We'll line up our first term, put it in order, x to the fourth, leave a blank, plus 3x squared and minus 5x. And we're going to subtract. Then we have 11x to the fourth and negative 3x squared. So just pay attention, keep in mind that we need to subtract each of these. X minus 11 is negative 10x to the fourth. 3 minus negative 3 is positive 6x squared. Negative 5x minus nothing is negative 5x. So either way, we get the same value. Just take whichever method you're comfortable with. Try the next example, pause it, and start it when you're ready. So I rewrote the equation by distributing this negative sign. So 3x squared plus 6x minus 4 minus x squared plus x plus 7. Just makes it more organized for me. Then I combine like terms. 3x and minus x squared is 2x squared. 6x and x is 7x, and negative 4 and 7 gives me positive 3. I just made some symbols below them just to show you which ones are the like terms. And you can see that vertical format if you want to take a look at that. So today we learned what a polynomial is, what a binomial, 2 terms, a monomial, 1 term, trinomial, 3 terms. And we learned what the degree is and leading coefficient, and how to add and subtract polynomials.